Experience the evolution of accuracy with the new Browning X-Bolt 2. Guys, this rifle is something else. With the introduction of the X-Bolt, Browning has set a new standard in the development of bolt-action rifles. It was created around the goal of total accuracy, where every component worked in unison to improve downrange performance straight out of the box, from windswept tundras to rocky peaks high above the tree line to African plains and everywhere in between. The X-Bolt delivered the tack-driving accuracy a Browning rifle is respected for. And that's super true, guys. I really like this rifle from a standpoint of, like, it's not super heavy, it's not super light. I put a really nice scope on it. I love that Veritech stock because that is like one of those pieces of accuracy that, you know, that interface between the rifle and the shooter. Not everybody's the same size. The DLX trigger, you can get the plus magazine system for extra rounds. Great all-around rifle in the field. For those of you that are looking for a rifle this year to take to the field that you can feel real confident in and get really comfortable with, this is the rifle to check out. The Browning X-Bolt 2 should be one of your top contenders. Link is in the show notes. You know, back in the old days, there was this program called Layaway, where you can go into like a store and start making payments on something, some high dollar ticket item, and once you paid that off every month, it was yours. You could take it home. That's how I bought my first deer rifle from the Marine Corps PX on Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And it was the first, you know, weapon that I bought that I purchased myself. It wasn't a hand-me-down. It wasn't my dad's. It wasn't anything like that. So I went and I picked out this 30-06, and I just didn't have a lot of money. And so I did the layaway program, but I needed a scope on it. And the cheaper scopes were all sold out. And so I bumped up to like this entry-level loophole scope and put that on the layaway program and had them all, you know, put the whole package together for me and all that. Made the payments and finally got to bring it home. Ever since then, almost every rifle I've owned has had a loophole scope. In fact, I'm having a custom rifle built this year, and it's going to have the loophole Mark 5 HD scope on it. I just killed a buffalo with that scope. It's a really great product. And loophole guys, you know them. Everybody knows loophole. They've been around since like 1907. They started as like a special instrument company or something like that. But these American-made products are fantastic. Whether you're looking for a spotter, binos, a rifle scope, accessories, tripods, bipods, all that kind of stuff. You can find it all at loophole.com. And I'd really appreciate if you supported this American company that has a great American story. And I couldn't be a bigger fan of a company. And I'm so happy and thrilled that they've chosen to partner with the Western Huntsman. Thanks to Leupold, and thanks to you guys for supporting our great sponsors. There exists a threat, from anti-hunting groups to politicians trying to give our land away, and we won't stand for it. Those vast western landscapes provide the space for our wildlife to thrive and a place for hunters and anglers to fuel the fire that sparks their soul. In this show, we share our love of hunting, fishing, and conservation. Here, we provide the foundation to meet these threats through passion and the grit of the American outdoorsman. Welcome to the Western Huntsman Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Western Huntsman Podcast. This is Jim Huntsman, your host, coming at you from the Broken Time studio right here in Northwest Montana, Heron, Montana, to be exact, and brought to you by Eastman's Hunting Journals. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We've, again, kind of on this topic of we get a little bit, I don't know, hung up or caught up in the moment of prepping for season. It's August 13th today, which means for those of us, whether we're guides or we're just hunting, you know, September archery elk season is just like knocking on the door. I mean, all we have to do is open the door at this point. It's going to be here before we know it. And so we get caught up and hung up in that moment. And sometimes we don't spend a lot of time on some of the conservation aspects or the wildlife management aspects and you know, topics like that. And I think it's important that we, you know, don't take our foot off the gas with that kind of stuff. And we are always kind of apprised as to what's going on. This is going to be specific to Montana mule deer, a lot of this episode, but I am going to pick the guest's brain a little bit on some elk tactics too, so that we can, have a little bit of both since season is so close, and probably some mule deer tactics since we're talking a bunch of mule deer. So, Rod Paschke, he is a return guest. He's an outfitter in Montana. He's on I already forgot the name of the board, but he's on kind of an advisory council that Montana asked him to be a part of to help with some of the mule deer management issues going on in the state of Montana, because Montana is a vast, dispersed type kind of, diversity type state from a standpoint of, habitat and geographics and mule deer dynamics and herd dynamics and whatnot. And so a lot of things happen in the state of Montana, as they do in any Western state, really. But Montana is it's so vast, and there's such a difference between like Eastern and Western Montana and how those mule deer interact with their own habitat and predators and whatnot. It's complicated. So it complicates it. And again, it's complicated in Wyoming. It's complicated in Utah and Colorado. And so a lot of this will apply to these other Western states as well, as we kind of dive into some of this stuff. And so hopefully I'm making sense. Rod, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. We've had a hell of a year over here. Started off really dry. We also, we obviously ranch as well. And
yeah,
gotta tell you what, May, June, we were kind of wondering which cows we were going to sell first. It was that bad. And then went raining. And now we're good. It's phenomenal. It looks like May over here right now. So it's great. We're doing
that's good. Really? Yeah. So it's been
unbelievable.
Oh, that's good news, man. That's really good. I mean, it's not been super wet here, but it's been wet enough that I'm not like in a state of panic about wildfires, because I live, where wildfire could wipe us out pretty easy. It's not, I mean, it's dry, but it's not super dry like other years. And the skies aren't filled with smoke. And so it's kind of nice.
Yeah. We got half our annual rainfall the month of July. We got 7 inches from July 1 to July 31st right there at the house.
No kidding.
And it's unbelievable. It's cool. Finally. So
yeah,
that's going to help for, fawn recruitment, calf recruitment, elk calf recruitment. Antelope, all that stuff for next year, because they're going to go into the winter phenomenal. So
yeah, that's good. It's always good news. I feel like they fared pretty well this last winter too. The mule, I'm speaking specifically mule deer, but even I mean, like even the whitetail and the elk, they just came out of this spring. And again, I'm in Northwest Montana, so it might be a little bit different, but it seems like they fared very well this winter. Numbers, not a lot of winter kill up here. Numbers look good. Calves were looking really good. Fawns were looking really good. In fact, I've got 2 of them living on my property, and I keep catching them on my trail camera bouncing around back there, and they're hopping around in my pond in the front. And awesome. So it's just fun to watch. It's the same doe. She drops a couple of fawns every year here, and it's fun to watch, man. So how about you? What have you noticed from like last winter? How they fare mule deer wise on your end of the state?
So our mule deer, as far as winter kill, it's been very minimal. But what people need to understand, it's not the winter that kills them, it's the summers. Because if they go into the winter with 6 to 8% body fat, it doesn't take much to kill them after that.
Yeah.
So the drought has had a huge effect on our mule deer. Huge drought and predators is what, not allowing them to grow. So, but we can control one, we can't control the other. So, but
what was that last part you said?
I think we're good. I think our recruitment was good. And I think with this moisture we're getting moving forward, we're going to be, unless, like Guy Eastman said a long time ago, he said we got 1 foot on a bad winter and 1 foot on a banana peel.
Yeah,
and where we're at, So,
gosh, that's so true, man. That is so true. And I'm a little. I don't know if I get. I don't get superstitious, but it's been a couple of light winters, and So for our area, man, I've been dealing with the worst allergies all summer, and I swear every time I get behind the microphone, they hit me. And so if I'm clearing my throat a bunch, that's what it is. So anyway,
Stress related.
it could be stress related, man. It's been, like you said, it's been a heck of a year. So I feel like we might be in for one heck of a winter this year. It's that cycle. It's been, I don't know, 5 or 6 years since we've had just a doozer up here. So I don't know, that cycle might be. Oh, just for those of you listening, Rod Paschke is a return guest. He's been on the show before. In fact, we talked mule deer last time. And what was that? That was like last fall, wasn't it?
A couple of months. No, it was I think this winter. Something like.
Was it? Okay. It wasn't very long ago. And so Rod is an outfitter and a rancher. He is the owner of the Sizzlin S Outfitters, or SSO. You could find it at sizzlinoutfitters.com. Known for, like, trophy mule deer. You guys do a lot of goat hunts too, don't you? And elk hunts.
Antelope hunts and elk hunts, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I started out with deer and antelope, and then got very fortunate to get a very, very good elk lease up here. Yep.
When I said goat, I meant speed goat. I figured
you did. Yeah. That's how I started.
Yeah, and so this season, you at the outfitter there, you guys are all booked up, filled up, ready to go. Good season.
Really booked up this year. I'm booked up. All my deer hunts are full next year. Halfway full. 7. It's crazy.
It's a good problem to have, man.
It is.
I need to get on your calendar. And is there tell everybody the kind of the mule deer management team or board advisory kind of council that you're on for the state of Montana, and how that came about, just for in case anybody didn't hear us last time.
So basically, MCS came to us and asked us to get a group together. They got a group together, and it was a bunch of somebody from a DIY hunter from each district region, if you will, in Montana. And then they got myself and Eric Elbis as outfitters on there. And then Art Hayes as a landowner, and just wanted to come together and break bread, right? And talk about what we could do to help our mule deer situation out. So we've got outfitters, we've got landowners, we've got DIY hunters. And I'll tell you what, it was really a cool conversation the first time. It has been ever since, but everybody was on the same page. So basically what we're trying to do is save mule deer, right? In one way, shape, or form. Because as we all know, they're dipping, and we need to do something different. I think what we've been doing for decades is nothing short of criminal by hunting in the rut. Eric and I have done very well. And Rob Arno, who's also on there, used to own Montana Hunt Company. We've done very well over the years hunting deer in the rut, but there comes a time when you have to start worrying about the resource, right? And when our predator numbers push our populations down, the drought pushed our population down, you got to stand back and do something right. So that's what we're trying to do.
What within that council that you're involved with, are there folks from like Northwest Montana and like every region of the state?
Absolutely, yes.
Is there a general consensus within that council of the the kind of how you explain it, where the mule deer numbers are down, and is there anybody that goes kind of talks maybe the opposite of that within the council? I mean,
not really. No, everybody realizes the fact that our mule deer population has dropped everywhere. And
this is what I was talking about before we hit record, because it's always like, there's real data, there's science, there's perception, there's opinions, and all these things have to kind of come together. And so, like, one of the things that we've been talking about at Elk Creek outfitting is we've kind of noticed an uptick in mule deer on this side of the state. And a lot of that I think is because of, and I'm not even going to say the mountains that we're guiding in, but it's very difficult to get to them. You don't just road hunt,
That's perfect.
and so you really do have to work for especially the bigger mule deer up in this neck of the woods, because they're just they're way up there. They're several miles in and several 100 or a couple of 1,000 feet high, elevation gain to get to them, and just there's just such a limited amount of hunters willing to actually do that. And so I think that has kind of protected these mule deer numbers in this particular range. And so the thing that kind of pops into my mind, I certainly don't own the outfitter, but I know from a business side, that's a huge portion of our draw for those November hunts, right? And so people book and they want to come and come after some of these great big mule deer bucks that we show that we've had over the years. And we tell them before they get here, you have to be willing to put in the work. They are not easy to get to, and they're not easy to get, and they're not easy to get out. And so, it's kind of a different thing than I think some other parts of the state where the muleys are getting hammered by these road hunters a lot of the time. These little 2-point forked horn mule deer bucks that stand 20 yards off the road and stare at you, and they're such easy targets. And so I just kind of wanted to throw that at you from a standpoint of it worries. I know I've talked to a couple of outfitters outside of our own, the one that I guide for here, that have some concerns about shutting that hunt down because it's a big part of their business. How do you address that and kind of walk us through your response to that attitude? I guess I don't know if I'm a terrible interviewer, man, but I'm trying.
You're not. You're awesome. Everybody's going to have to give up something first and foremost, whether it be a DIY hunter, an outfitter, whether it be the region 6, 7, 4, or 5, whatever the case is, over as well as over in 1, 2, 3. But it's about the resource, right? When I say the resource, I mean mule deer. There's pluses and minuses to it, but if we can hunt them when they're less vulnerable, do you or do you not feel that we're going to get a older age class, right?
Absolutely.
But the main part of our proposal is to try to reduce overcrowding with the split seasons, right? And that's the biggest problem I think we're seeing now is the overcrowding. Because, okay, you take the western part of the state, 1, 2, 3, part of 4, game numbers aren't as high. So what do? They look east. They look at 6, 7, 5, and they migrate this way. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but all of a sudden now the resource, the mule deer, namely, is taking a beating over here because of so many people coming over, and it's so much easier to be able to drive around, like you just said.
Yeah.
Shoot those vulnerable young deer right from the road.
Man, and I've seen that a million times, and I don't know. I've gotten a little bit raunchier with my opinion on this.
Okay,
I used to not ever kind of judge. Well, if you want to shoot a 2x3, little young 1.5-year-old mule deer buck, I'm not going to judge anything. I don't know, man. I've kind of, that's changed over the years, because the thing is they're so vulnerable. Those young mule deer bucks are so vulnerable. They're so dumb. And I've been saying this for years. There's nothing smarter than a wise old 4, 5, 6-year-old mule deer buck. But boy, if they can get there, because that first couple of years, they're just not that way. Even a young 4-point buck, they don't make the best decisions during hunting season. And I don't care if it's October or November. I've just seen them do really dumb things, and it just makes them more vulnerable. And so, and to your point, I'm in region 1, and I'm looking at are you in 5 or 7?
I'm in 7. You're
in 7. I thought so. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the when we're talking about like the game numbers are higher on that end of the state, but the private land is way higher on that end of the state. So the access is way more. And so I think people have to, they're looking at kind of what's better, more access, fewer animals, or more animals, less access. And I don't know why people choose the less. Like for me, I'm taking access every time, and I'm not advocating for non-residents to come to, Western Montana. I think you should all go to Rod's end of the state and hunt that side.
Yep,
Right?
I get it.
No,
I get it.
I'm kidding. But and so I guess that's what and I think that what I was talking about earlier, this uptick in mule deer that we've been noticing. Again, these are high country, backcountry mule deer that we're seeing. They are again, your average hunter isn't going to hike 7 miles up to the top of these mountains out here. I keep almost saying them, and I'm trying not to. It's not like a big secret. If you guys were on like our Elk Creek outfitting website, it's not going to be some secret. But our outfitter, we have some really good access to some really good mountains, and it's very difficult. And I think that's what's spiking our mule deer populations. So the question I have for you, Rod, is like, is there discussion within this mule deer management plan of nuances throughout the state of Montana where, they're struggling in Unit 7, they're struggling. Well, they're going to be struggling, I think, in everywhere except for the small portions of Unit 1, Region 1. And is there discussion of nuances throughout the state where maybe, okay, let's shut down the rut hunt here, but not over here? Or is it just like this blanket thing for the whole state?
What's that collateral damage look like though? Let's say we did that in 6 and 7. Okay, you can't hunt the rut. All right. Just had a good conversation with Ben Lamb this morning about this. Let's say we can't hunt the rut in 4, 6, and 7. Okay. Where's the collateral damage going to go? It's going to go to 1, 2, 3, part of 4.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful how we do this. So we're, people are, call them non-residents, if you will, maybe some residents. Well, I can't hunt the rut in 4, 6, and 7. Okay, I want to hunt the rut, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. It's going to inundate those areas, right, with a bunch of people. We don't need that. We're trying to spread the people out, right? And so we're not running into the overcrowding issue. That we're trying to alleviate that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, and this is why I'm asking these questions, is because what I'm trying to prevent is, that there are folks in Montana, mostly I'm talking about the residents that cherish this long 5-6 week gun hunt in November for the elk deer combo, right? This is like a cherished thing. And what I'm trying to prevent is people having like this knee jerk reaction and saying, because initially that's kind of how I was feeling. I'm like, man, we were just talking, the numbers are up. We're seeing a lot of mule deer. If you're getting out of the truck and getting up high and getting into that backcountry, we're seeing deer that weren't there a few years back and whatnot. They're healthy. They're looking good. The wolves don't seem to hammer them in that part of the specific mountain range that I'm talking about. They're mostly a little south of us. Anyway, so I'm trying to look at this from all sorts of different perspectives, because there's going to be people that want to tar and feather you for getting rid of that season. You know what I mean? And
I can take that.
I know you can. And the thing that I want to tell people that might be listening and getting upset about this proposal is, Rod, you stand from a business standpoint to lose business over this, and you're still advocating for it. And so that's really what piques my interest from your perspective of it is, you're a business guy. I'm a business guy. I never want to do anything that could potentially affect the revenue that I am trying to obtain through my company. That revenue number is like the number one thing that I think about all day, every day, to figure out how to make this company work, to make these numbers work and sustainable for the long term, not just, hey, let's make money this month and and hope for the best. That long-term revenue output or input that keeps us in business, right? That affects you, and you're still advocating almost against your own interest from a business standpoint. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Because if we don't have the resource, we don't have a business. So we have to protect that resource, right? To protect our business. We'll, Eric and I have talked hours about this. We'll be fine. I've got good enough guides. I've got great enough property. We will do fine. Or maybe I'll shift some stuff towards archery or whatever. But if we don't have the resource, we don't have a business. And if we don't have a resource, that means the DIY hunter does not have a resource or you know what I'm saying? So it's a damn animal. We need to protect them. And
what? Go ahead. I
think it's about the resource first and foremost, and we will adjust our businesses. Us that do a good job will adjust our business model accordingly, and that's what a lot of outfitters don't get. And it got sprung on them, and they just think negative. Eric and I think positive because we know we're going to be fine.
And this wouldn't affect you. I mean, you still have whitetail out there, right?
We do. Yeah. We do.
Got some nice
especially
whitetail.
Eric. He has, obviously on the Milk River, and I've got some good whitetail spots. I'm not worried about that part. I'm worried about the mule deer. And
do you feel
point fingers at us that, well, they're looking to grow bigger deer. They're looking at, no, we're not. We're trying to save them.
Well, I could tell anybody that has that theory doesn't know much about the Sizzlin S Outfitter because you guys already have some world-class mule deer out there, and you have quite the track record on them. I'm curious, though, Rod, like your personal perception over the years, you're like the perfect guy to ask this. What is your take on the whitetail out-competing mule deer and moving into mule deer habitat? Is that something like when you hear something like, what's your reaction to it, and how over the years do you feel like that's affected mule deer?
Oh, I know it has. Watched it. So I've been doing this since 2001. Started guiding in 2001, bought the business in 2005. And I've watched it. I've had the one of the best places to witness this. And Creek Bottoms goes up into some mule deer habitat. And yeah, it does happen. And the other problem is our elk encroachment is huge. And elk will push mule deer out. I've watched that firsthand too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's another thing people don't get is that. So yes, the mule deer are so vulnerable. Rob Arno told me years ago, he said, all right, here's the deal. He said, if you have a field of 100 mule deer and you want to reduce them down to 60, go kill 10. He said 20 will go off and die out of sympathy. But that I'm like,
probably true.
Yeah. And he's like, no, he said, that's biologically proven. And he said, but if you have a field of 100 whitetail, you want to reduce them down to 60. He said, you need to go kill 50 or 60 because of compensatory reproduction. They will, if their numbers get down, they will produce more. Looks like coyote. Elk are the same way. The lower their numbers get, the more they reproduce. Mule deer are totally different. And when you start to depress their population, they just keep going on that downhill slide. So I think what we did in the last season setting when we made mule deer doe hunting only on private in region 6 and 7, we're going to see a huge benefit of that because they were just getting hammered and they shouldn't have been getting hammered. So I think we're going to see a big, last year was the first year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, but I think last year, but I think we're going to see a big uptick now at some point. So.
And within this, what is your guys' recommendation? What is the proposal as it sits right now? Describe what that is going forward. What is the goal of this kind of advisory council in terms of getting season changed? What do you guys want to see happen?
So I've got it right in front of me. So basically October 25 to October 5th would be archery. So
wait. You said October 25 to October 25th.
August, sorry. August
sorry.
25 to October 5 would be our archery season. So that means it's opened up in a week early. Okay. Or a week early.
And that's statewide, Rod?
Keep in mind, we're one of the outliers in the Western states that don't allow archery hunting the end of August, right? For deer and elk. So it'd be August 25th to October 5. And then October 8 to November 5 would be the first season, okay? So
first season mule deer.
We're talking split seasons, okay?
Okay.
So if you chose to hunt that, you could hunt October 8 to November 5. You could only hunt mule deer from October 8 until October 25, the early season. Mm-hmm. And then when October 5th or October 25th rolled around to November 6th, you would be hunting, or 5th, you could hunt deer or whitetail, mule deer, and elk for 10 days. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And after that, you're looking at hunting whitetail and elk only after the 5th of November.
Gotcha. So, go ahead. You weren't finished.
No, I wasn't. No. And then there is a private land only cow elk hunt from the 15th of October to the 25th of October to try to get these elk dispersed off of private onto the public. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know about that one. So talk to us.
A lot of people don't. Yep.
Yeah, so that's an effort to get these elk off of. Now with that one, because I think that's a great idea, because these elk they kind of bunch up on this private land, and for all of us that do this DIY over the counter kind of thing, we sit on the public and staring at all this private land with thousands of elk piled up on them, and so this would be an effort to disperse those back onto the public. That's pretty exciting. What about are landowners going to be open to letting people come and hunt those private land cow elk hunts?
I think they would be. They will be. You take our side of the state, you take the 799 permit, which is 702, 04, and 05, South of Miles City, South of Forsyth, that country. You get up in our country, up in here in the breaks, our elk populations are exploding. We have a lot more public up here.
Mm-hmm.
So they are accessible, but those elk still tend to gravitate towards the private. So if we could disperse those a little bit to help the DIY guy on the public or the block management, why would we not? We need to get rid of some elk. That's basically a lot of places in eastern Montana. The landowner tolerance is running very thin at this point. You get south of the interstate, it's running very thin.
Well, I just so happen to provide a free service, Rod, where if you have an elk problem on your ranch in Montana, I am happy to bring myself and my daughters, who are excellent shots, and we will help you with that problem free of charge. All I need from you is a good review online. Right? Hey, we did it. He did a great job. The Jim Huntsman Elk Clearing Company. So just throwing that out there.
Oh, I noted.
I think as a dude that guides for an outfitter, and also I help with some of the other stuff within, or I'm gonna be quite a bit more. I feel like I'm like trying to figure out how to say this. A lot of this management on the mule deer side of it, that sounds like opportunity to me, because what you're doing is you're opening up more weeks, because there's kind of this dead space that happens between archery and the rifle now, right? And you're opening up some opportunity for, and I'm speaking to the folks that are just outfitters, right? I'm not talking about the DIY guy, because that's going to actually create some opportunity anyway. I love the fact that we could go after them still in velvet here. That is something like I don't know, what day did I say it was? It's like the 13th. So So like in
No,
Utah,
they'd have their carpet off by the 8th of October.
no, I'm talking about archery. If it opens
Oh,
August,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So that early archery season,
Phenomenal.
man, that'd be a great time. It'd be, especially this area. I would go up there and I would it would be a ball.
As we all know, those deer, especially mule deer, when they still have their velvet on, they're still in bachelor groups, obviously. But god dang it, as soon as that velvet comes off, that's a whole different animal at that point.
Oh yeah, and that's right about that time. Yeah.
That day, they changed.
Yeah.
And you're seeing all these velvet covered mule deer, and I'm not kidding you. Overnight, you're like, well, where'd they go? And they will crawl in a hole. It's really awesome to watch it, to see it. But just makes you work harder and try harder. We don't hate it because we try.
I don't know of a lot of things that'll make you a better hunter than going after a velvet mule deer buck in the high country with a bow. Like it's incredible. And like I was just saying, like here we are, middle of August. They're going to start hunting. That Utah season opens super early, and I used to hunt that in the high country in Utah with a bow. And it was tough hunting. It was so tough. But you're right. They were still bachelored up. And you'd be sitting there moving through the country trying to sneak in on one buck, and all of a sudden you'd look to the left and there's this group of bachelor bucks staring at you. You don't have an arrow knocked, and man, they pick up on you and they're gone. They're bolting. It's a great time, and because it's archery, they're not susceptible to these yahoos that cruise down the road in a pickup and shoot these young bucks right off the road, And so, for me, that sounds like a blast. So, yeah.
And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, if we get this done, I'll just move more guys to archery. It's not a big deal to me. Because they'll still have, they're going to have a great hunt anyway. Mm-hmm. But if we can move some of that earlier, are they more vulnerable? No, because there's too many eyes on the field, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they go hard-horned, then things get real.
Yeah.
Between that point and the rut. So,
yeah.
I think we would save a lot of young deer in this proposal. It's why we're moving forward with it.
Do you think
spread hunters out?
Do you think? Yeah, I do agree with the spread hunters out. Do you think that, like, if we were looking at alternatives to that plan, do you think that would be more effective, or doing like a point restriction on mule deer and keeping it as is, like 3 points are better, 4 points are better, or something like that? What's your take on that?
There's been a couple states, Utah, Colorado, they've tried the point restrictions, 3 point or better, 4 point or better. You're still not. So from a landowner, from a cattleman standpoint, you let these 3 points walk, that'd be like us that has a high class herd of black cattle that's been in existence for 60 years on the same genetics, putting a Hereford bull in or a Charolais bull in, you're going to drop your genetics. Okay. So I think the 3 points need to go away, even though does carry 80% of the genetics, but we still don't need to have that male in there breeding that 3 point genetic in. And then you go to, 4 point or better. What about the 2.5-year-old 4 points that are staying off the road? They get dusted. Where that deer is never going to have a chance to get any bigger. So I don't think point restrictions work, in my opinion. Yeah. Utah, Colorado has proven that it does not work.
Well, the last time I took a deep dive into it, you nailed it. They don't work. There's no solid biological data that supports point restrictions. And I asked, this was years ago, but I asked the most renowned deer expert on the planet, I believe, is Jim Heffelfinger. and I asked him about it, and he kind of basically is stating the same thing. There's just no real data to back like a scientific explanation that point restrictions work, because I don't know why. Because logically you would think, okay, you can only shoot 3-point or better. That means those little forked horns that stand 20 yards off the side of the road, so somebody in a 85 Suburban can pull up and nail it with an old 30-30. That's not going to happen. But so logically you think that would work, but it's just, and we have a point restriction here on elk. It's got to be a brow tine bull here. You can't shoot spikes during archery or rifle. But anyway, I don't know. The elk numbers are just in general. It's not like there's more branch antlered bulls because of it. There's just more elk in general. And I don't think there's males and females. We've got our elk population on this side is rebounding from this big decline that was taking place, I believe, because of the wolves and the lack of management on the wolves. That's really turned around. I'd like to welcome Mystery Ranch as a sponsor to the Western Huntsman. This is a great product. Specifically, we're going to talk about the Mysterium line. Those packs include the Sawtooth 45, the Sawtooth 65, the Beartooth 85, and the Marshall 105, depending on what you're doing with the pack. If you from day pack to backcountry, plenty of space. I like what they wrote on the website. Between the disciplines of calculated preparation and in-the-moment focus, an intangible alchemy exists. We call it Mysterium. It is our most ambitious, tech-rich line of Mystery Ranch hunting packs constructed for the most methodical hunters. I'd agree with that. It's a great pack, guys. I really like the ventilation system. When you put it on, it's nice and tight, but you're still breathing a little bit less of that buildup between the pack and your back when you're sweating and out there packing through the mountains and whatnot. It's a super functional pack, very comfortable. Very good at carrying loads. I've been using it all spring between bear and just like I do a lot of rucking to keep in shape, and it has done a phenomenal job. I've got a lot of top-of-the-line packs out there, and I've always kind of geeked out with packs, but I really do like the weight distribution and the way that it allows you multiple options as to where you're going to either carry a water bladder or one of those Contigo containers or whatever you're going to use. Really impressed. I love the ease of how everything functions on it too. You don't need to watch a bunch of videos to figure out how to undo everything to pack a bunch of meat out. That's really important for a guy like me, I promise. I'm not super smart. So the simplicity, the comfort, the load distribution, it all makes for a wonderful backcountry hunting pack. If you are in the market, check it out at mysteryranch.com/mysterium. The other one was I had Dr. Valerius Geist, who has since passed away, on the show several years ago, and he was kind of stating the same thing. He's like he was saying that, and people will argue with me or anybody else, to the point of being just red-faced angry about it, about point restrictions, but there's just no data to suggest that they're effective and that they work. And nowhere you can really look, and all you will find are opinions. You will not find hard scientific data. So
100% agree with you on that. There's opinions, but I don't believe in it. We'll put it that way. That's just me, but I don't believe in it.
Yeah, I don't either, man. Well, I think I actually it really helped. You helped clarify for me what I got from you, Rod, is we're going to essentially remove the mule deer from that November rut season. But at the end of the day, should this proposal move forward, Montana hunters are going to see more opportunity. There's more weeks open for mule deer because you're opening that archery season earlier, and you're opening that October season earlier. And to me, that sounds like more opportunity. It's just we're removing it from the rut so that they're not so susceptible to, we do get, and it's not, I'm not going to just blame non-residents. It's residents too. We get a lot of people out in the woods during that November hunt, And that, mid-sized mule deer buck, that little young 4.4x4, those bucks are just as susceptible during that rut as a forked horn mule deer any time of year.
And the one thing people need to understand, or should understand, in my opinion, is the pressure we're putting on these mule deer while they're breeding. So I'll go back to our rant operation. If we kicked a bunch of bulls out, let's say we kicked 5 bulls out for 200 head of cows, 150 head of cows in one pasture. And then we went and we jostled them every day. And we kept moving them around, kept pestering them. The conception rates are going to suck. So we kick our bulls out and we leave them. We don't mess with them. We go check water. We put salt mineral out, but we don't pester them. Now, if you were to turn a set of bulls out and then a week later go move that set of cows to, a couple miles away to a different pasture, you will see your conception rates drop. No different than mule deer. So these does are cycling, and we're hunting bucks, we're hunting deer that time of year, and we're putting pressure on them. We're changing their whole estrus cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're getting stressed. So if we would leave that alone for a while, or leave it alone when they're actually getting bred, our fawn recruitment is going to rise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're not stressing those mule deer out at that time. And
yeah,
they're no different than the other species. When they're in estrus and they're wanting to get bred, they don't need pestered.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see our fawn recruitment go up, is my point.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's true with anything. Like the one of the things that everybody's like, oh, well, the wolves are killing all the elk. No, it's not just that the wolves are killing elk
or eating them.
It's not just that they're eating. It's they're hassling them during the rut, and those cows are not getting bred. And exactly. So, and the other thing is those cows are there's a word for it, but they're basically kind of like self-aborting when they are bred during those winter months and getting chased around by these wolves. And I don't know how that happens. I had it, somebody really explained it in detail to me. I can't remember how it was described, but there's like this thing that happens within the body of the cow, and it just like aborts this calf, mid-pregnancy while it's getting chased around the mountains by wolves. And so, it's that kind of effect. And so that's, just going to what you're speaking about now is that pestering and that, I think that right. You're absolutely right. That stress being reduced on those mule deer numbers. And we all know, like, I can sit here and say that we've noticed an uptick in mule deer populations in my neck of the woods, which I think is fairly a true statement, just from because I don't exaggerate. I don't go see a 4x5 mule deer buck that's 3.5 years old and claim him to be 200 inch. I'm very cautious with how I describe animals in terms of their size and describe them in terms of their numbers. I really try not to exaggerate any of that, but there really has been a noticeable uptick in mule deer in the high country here.
That's and awesome.
It is, but I do believe that is because there is just a major lack of vehicle access to some of these spots. You can't. Yep. And so there's not stress. There's not there's not hunters road hunting. Road hunters are deadly to mule deer populations.
Terrible.
It's terrible. And so anyway, yeah, I think you nailed it, man. So time wise, let's talk about the proposal being put forth. A, what are the chances it gets approved and passed? And B, when would those changes take effect?
So answer your first question. There's so much public pushback on this deal. I don't know if it'll get passed or not, but you still got to try, right? I actually had this conversation with Ben Lamb here a few weeks ago. I'm like, all right, so we're in 25. Would it be implemented in 26? or would it be 27? Because I said if it's 26, so season setting is in December, that does not give the FWP very long to change their regs, right? And those of us that have clients booked out till 26, 27, I told Dan, I said, it's not about us, but I said, we're going to change everything. What I can, we can. I don't know the answer to that, and he didn't know. But it's going to be if we did get something like this done, that's a lot on the FWP to get everything changed in a short amount of time. So I don't know. I'm thinking 27 would be the logical answer to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to have to let the public give them a pretty good heads up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Don't you agree? Whether it be
I absolutely.
I think, all right, that's in December. Boom, we're changing it in 26. That does not give people a lot of time to plan. In my opinion, if we did get something like this done, 27 would be the optimal date. Or optimal year.
I think so too. I question about you mentioned you're getting a lot of pushback from the public. What are people saying? Like, are they don't want to get rid of that gun hunt during the November mule deer seasons?
Yeah, they just don't like change, right? Traditionally, this is the way it's been. So let's go back to another deal, is the youth season, which is usually set up around what do they call it, where the teachers go, they have their conference, not parent-teacher conference, but my wife used to teach, and she would go, they have a week right before opener.
Yeah.
Where and kids aren't in school. That's why the youth season is where it's at.
Okay.
Let's move that youth season to around Thanksgiving, where youth can hunt mule deer, even though the whitetail season is on, but we move that to Thanksgiving around that time, that weekend, to where they can hunt, the youth can hunt then, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be a heavy lift too, I'm sure. But
is that in the proposal now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's a good opportunity. I know like around here, it's not going to have a big impact on mule deer because they're still pretty high, and it's pretty snowy that time of year, and so there's just not going to be a lot of impact to the mule deer. Not a lot of people are willing to go where these mule deer live in this part of Montana.
So back to your other question is, why the pushback? Everybody's so hung up on, well, we like to go hunt during Thanksgiving. You still can go hunt whitetail.
Yeah.
Go hunt elk. Leave these damn mule deer alone and don't pester them. That's kind of where we're not taking opportunity away. We're trying to move the dates of said opportunity. You can still hunt, but it's going to be at a different time. And everybody's like, oh, you're taking my opportunity away. No, we're not. That's not our proposal. We don't take any opportunity away. We just want to make sure that there's a resource that's protected. So.
And just for like some clarification, Rod, on like right now, I go by my Montana resident deer tag, and I could pursue mule deer or whitetail. With moving these season dates, that's not going to change that, right? It's not going to have like here's your mule deer tag, and that means you can't get a whitetail tag. But I just still have a deer tag, and I can hunt those seasons.
Whatever season you choose. So if let's say you chose season 1, you can hunt mule deer from October 6th to November 5th, basically. And then in that overlap, you're still hunting mule deer, but after November 5th, you cannot no longer hunt mule deer. So you're basically stuck, not stuck, but you're basically hunting whitetail.
Yeah.
So it gives everybody an opportunity to hunt both for 10 days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you have to make a decision whether you want to, all right, do you want to hunt mule deer early or do you want to hunt whitetail late or that little window? One of our guys that we deal with a lot, he's an outfitter. He's like, this is not going to work for me because I don't have mule deer bucks on my leases in October. I'm like, well, it's not about you. It's about the resource. And if I were you, I'd go find a different lease. It doesn't matter to me. And he's like, well, we just don't have them, so it's not going to work. Well, it'll work. What people are afraid to do is look down the road 5 years, 2 years, 5 years, and to see how this is going to improve. And what we're trying to do is improve public hunting, not private, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we can control our private hunting. I mean, obviously they're not high fenced, but we can manage it the best we can. But those deer they can wander to public, to private, whatever. And I think if we did this, it would improve the public hunting, whether it be block management, whether it be BLM, whether it be forest, whether it be whatever, right? I think we're just going to improve our numbers, and it's going to positively affect everybody.
Well, numbers increasing, whether it's on public or private. And you're right, Rod. I mean, like if you're a landowner with a bunch of ranch land, you can make that land pretty optimal in terms of habitat for mule deer and keep them there. And that's, you can't do that on public land. But if you're increasing deer on private land, that is going to spill over into public land. And it's that saying that a rising tide raises all ships. That's what happens if you're improving. And I think that's why there's so much advocacy for creating such good habitat on private land sectors, is because it does raise those numbers for both public and private. And so I think that's a critical thing. I've always dreamed. I've got 15 acres here in the woods, Rod, and I've always dreamed of having like hundreds of acres in creating like just amazing animal habitat, whether it's for elk or deer or whatever. It's always been a dream of mine. But there's this little thing called money that you need to be able to obtain that kind of land, and I just have never had it.
No, and I get it. I married well. My wife and I own quite a bit of ground, but her family owns a lot. And I have never killed a deer on this landscape because we have a lot of public hunting around it, right? At the wrong timing. I have leased some of our neighbors just to protect that, to try to grow some deer up. And it's not about me. It's about trying to grow some damn deer up to where they're cool to see, right?
You're passionate about wildlife.
Yeah, I am. But when you have public hunting on X amount of sides of you, it's pretty hard to grow something up in the middle of you. So what you're saying is, I agree 100%. Yes. Totally. Okay.
So let's shift gears here for a little bit as we wrap this up. So before I do that, I'd like to, for any of you listeners in Montana, we have I wouldn't say most come from Montana. For some reason, my biggest audience is in Idaho, and that's probably because that's where I started this show. And so but we still have we have a lot of listeners in Montana, and I'm going to kind of promote this episode more on the Montana side, because I'd like to get like just personal feedback from folks that are residents of Montana. What you're the stakeholders here. What is your take on this proposal to eliminate mule deer hunting during the rut and pushing it into October? Back into October, and keep in mind, Montana is, I don't have the actual data, Rod. Maybe off the top of your head, but Montana is one of the very, very few states that allow mule deer hunting in November. Yep. Idaho's always ended on when I lived there. My birthday is November 10th, same as the Marine Corps, by the way, but it always ended around like the 9th or 10th of November. And that was almost always when I got a mule deer, when I was pursuing a mule deer, because that's when they're becoming really susceptible and they're going into that rut and they're, letting themselves be known, if you will. And so, Montana is one of the few states that still do it. It's a very long season. And it is, There's a lot of non-residents that come to Montana. There's a lot of they're proportionally, the residents of Montana tend to be a little bit higher than normal state, or not normal states, other states, in terms of per capita of hunters in the population. So there's a lot of pressure on them. And so I'd like to hear everybody's take that's listening to this on this proposal. Read through it. By the way, you could find this, a lot of this information. Oh man, what did I do with that? Oh, so Council's Committee Mule Deer Citizens Advisory Committee. If you just type in Montana Mule Deer Citizens Advisory Committee.
No, that's a different deal, Jim.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Hold on.
Okay. I'm not trying to correct you, but
no, you're right. I want to make sure we're getting
that.
the right. Yeah. That was that's a population overview. Where can they find the information that you're talking about? Do you have it?
I don't know. I don't think it's real public. It's the MCS, Montana Conservation Society, is the ones that put this group together. And maybe you could find some information on there. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll try to find a link as to this, but basically, again, I'm not going to keep searching on Google while I'm talking. I can't talk and research at the same time anyway. But any of you listening, the proposal that Rod just put forward here, I'd love to hear your initial feedback. Again, Montana residents, if you're in South Texas, that's not gonna pertain. You can come here and hunt, but I'm really curious about resident input on this proposal. Email me at jim@thewesternhuntsman.com. That is jim@thewesternhuntsman.com. I have a Eastman's email, and it's like jim.h@eastman's, but I can never remember it. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on that. So as we switch gear, let's move into, since we're talking about mule deer, Rod, there's a lot of folks listening that have mule deer tags in their pocket. You just so happen to be a mule deer expert.
When you're, that's a little strong, Jim.
Well, I'll vouch for you. I've seen the pictures. What is, as you're going into like a mule deer hunt, and maybe you're going into some new country or whatever, how do you, first of all, how do you locate mule deer? What is your go-to strategy? And you're looking at the maps, or you're looking in the new country you're just coming into, like what are you looking for to say there is a higher probability of over here being a bunch of mule deer than like over here? Give us your rundown on that.
We'll go into a new area, and kind of funny, 4 or 5 years ago, one of my guides and I went and looked at a place that was available, and it was in July, and we saw two deer. No kidding. It was hot. It was warm. And we left there, and my guide asked me, named Will, it's like, what do you think? We left the landowner. We were headed back. I'm like, I'll tell you what. I said, flat bottom creeks with heavy sage is the key. And he's like, yep, I would agree. And we went back there that fall and started hunting it. And it was the damnedest thing I've ever seen, Jim. We're passing up 160s, 170s. They were everywhere.
What? Really?
Yes, it was unbelievable, because I knew that we had a flat bottom creek with heavy sage. If you can find that area, that's money, because those deer will come down. That's where mule deer bucks like to rut, is flat bottom creeks. And you'll have your channels, you'll have whatever, but they got high greasewood, high sage, and that's where they're going to be. And it's that place is phenomenal. But
it's money,
July,
huh?
In July of that year, I'm like thinking to myself, wow, this might not be very good. But I had that gut feeling that it would be great, and it was great. It is great to this day. But flat bottom creeks and the flat bottom creeks with heavy sage. That, and close to some ag. It's one of them deals you've kind of come around to the fact that if I lay eyes on a place, will this produce deer? No. Will this? Yes. It just has that look, right?
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It's just a gut feeling, basically. But
that's one of those things I've talked about, Rod, where like we can have all these discussions on a podcast or YouTube or whatever about teaching, reducing that learning curve for maybe a new hunter or whatever. But there's certain things that just have to be learned in the field because there's no way to describe it. Like, yeah, so I know exactly what you're saying. Like, I know where elk are going to be, and I don't even really know how to explain to you
why they're there.
But I have a really high probability that I'm going to find elk when I go into some new country. I just kind of know where they're going to be. And it's like, it's not this thing where it's north face slopes only, or it's only, 3,800 elevation. It's not anything like that. I could just look at a mountain, and this mountain can have like 5 or 6 drainages, and I can pick apart those drainages, and I know, okay, they're going to be in that drainage or that drainage, and I don't know why, but they are. And that's.
But you're going to X out the other 3 drainages because it doesn't look elky to you.
Exactly, right? It's not elky, and so what about for you? Like, do you guys do any like high country, big mountain type mule deer hunting out there, or is it mostly kind of that lower prairie kind of stuff?
We don't have big mountains out here, Jim.
I know.
You could watch your dog run away for 3 days and I'll be able to call him back.
That's right.
But rough, I mean, we go from top down, not bottom up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We're at 3,800 elevation. Every operation I have is, they're 200 miles apart, and we're 3,800 at the highest.
That's so interesting, man. Because where I live, I'm at about 2,400 feet. My house sits at 2,400 feet, but I could be to like 7,000 or 8,000 in about 30 minutes on a dirt road.
One of my guides, he lives in Sydney actually, and he guides a lot in Wyoming, and he made this point to me. He said, in Wyoming, we start from the bottom up. He said, here we start from the top and we go down, but you have to come back, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking down, and up there he's looking up. It's a totally different deal,
Yeah.
And a lot of my stuff is, prairie, rolling hills, sagebrush, and then you get in the breaks, and obviously it's nasty, wicked, terrible stuff. But you're looking down, not looking up.
Yeah. Do you? And here's another question for you. So I've gotten pretty good at calling in whitetail bucks right during the rut. Have you ever done any kind of calling on a mule deer and had it work? Like, I hear people do it all the time, but I've not really tried it though.
Last fall, when Eastmans were here with the Huntlanders, and Brandon Mason was like, let me use my call. I'm like, it was kind of slow that day. I'm like, yeah, whatever, Brando, just knock yourself out. And he starts hitting this call, and these deer start popping up.
What's he using? Like a fawn, or I'm sorry,
it was
like a grunt tube?
It was an old Gordon Eastman call with the rubber bands in it.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, where the hell did you find it? Well, I got him, and he starts hitting the call. And I'm like, whatever. All of a sudden, these deer start popping out, and they weren't running; they were popping out and coming to us.
Really?
And I'm like, holy God, this is
mule deer.
Yes, and I'm like, I can't. I had to eat my words at that point because he proved me wrong. Did we kill a deer off that? No, but there were some young bucks that come up out of there and falling the does out. I never thought I would see that, but it was pretty cool.
Interesting.
Really
yeah.
Neat. Yeah.
We got one of the guides here at our outfitter last year used a grunt tube and called in just a really nice, really solid 4x5.
Mule deer or whitetail?
Mule deer. Yeah, he called him in
Really?
up in the high country. Called him in. It was, gosh, I don't know, November 18th ish, somewhere around there. And he was like describing it. He's like, yeah, immediately he started grunting, and within I don't know 2 minutes, here comes this buck.
You're kidding?
Gives his hunter a shot. So I've never tried it. I'm going to try it this year.
all sorts of tactics out there, I guess, whatever works. But actually on that episode, Brando calls me out on it. He's like, "You didn't believe it." And I said, "Nope, I am a believer now." Just, if there'd have been a big deer in there, he would have followed those does out.
Wow.
How do we know, right?
Yeah.
Now, would I set my program on that? No.
Yeah.
If it works, it works, So
I think it's one of those things, like for me, I would use it kind of like as a Hail Mary tactic, and we're not seeing anything. Let's try calling one, I don't know.
Our big deal optics, we get to a spot at daylight and we set tripod up and we go to glass, and that's our approach. And we try to hunt these deer from a distance. I don't mean shoot from a distance. I mean locate them from a distance.
Yeah.
Find one you like, nonchalantly slip in there, get them dead, get them out, and we just don't like put a lot of pressure on them. That's the worst thing people do, is they want to put pressure on, and you're just going to lose at that point, in my opinion.
You're going to lose, and you're going to cost more mule deer,
exactly.
in the long run, for sure. So yeah. It's kind of like, there's just, I think people are kind of waking up to a lot of this. The folks that go out in late February, early March to try to pick up sheds, and they're just really putting a lot of pressure on these mule deer, and it's at such a vulnerable, critical time. And elk, it's a bad time to be pushing those animals around. And I wish more people would kind of wake up to understand the bigger picture, instead of just your own selfish, hey, I want to be the first one to find these sheds. Understand the bigger picture, that if you leave those animals alone, you're going to have a lot more sheds to pick up in the future, and just like quit stressing them out during that time. And I said this on the show one time, Rod, and I had like 8 emails of people telling me to F off, basically. And I get it. You keep having that attitude, and you're not going to, this thing that you do and this thing that you enjoy. The animal activists are not going to look at you as conservationists, because that's what hunters should be. We are conservationists. And if you have this shit attitude about, I just want that antler, I don't care how much stress it puts on the animal, people are not going to give you any credibility when it comes to the fact that, as a hunter, I'm a conservationist, and I care about the future of wildlife. And you're just not going to have credibility, and you're not going to have any animals, so it's not going to matter anyway. It's all going to go away. So
anytime we get in their bedroom and start pushing on them, actually goes back to our ranching part of our business. We leave those cattle alone until they calve, and then we go ear tag them, whatever. But you don't go pushing on them, because it's going to change the whole deal.
Yeah.
And wildlife is no different. Leave them alone. I mean, goddamn, people want to push on them all the time. They never get any relief. We've got a season that starts the 6th of November or 6th of September, and then we have the muzzleloader, and then we have a little break, and then all of a sudden we start into shed season. We never leave them alone. We've got they're wildlife for a reason. Leave them alone. And people don't get that. It just I'm disappointed in it. Put that way.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I get disappointed with that stuff too. We
can't control what they do, but
no, we can't. And I hate the fact that people can't think about that enough, because that's what creates more laws and more restrictions. I don't want to write more laws. I don't want the legislators making more rules, and the commissions making more rules and laws and all this kind of stuff. But that's what forces them to do that, and then we all lose a little bit of our freedom. Like they're like going back to that shed season. Now these states are coming up with these shed seasons where they're restricting people from going out there. And I know it's really difficult to enforce, but I don't shed hunt, so I don't understand the passion behind it. I don't really care. I'm more of a if I want antlers, I want to kill it, and so it's just I don't know. Disappointing is a really good use, because it's just, people can be so selfish, and humans can just be so selfish and not think about the bigger picture, and they get in these funnels where they're just thinking about right now, this would look really cool if I found a bunch of antlers and posted myself doing it on Instagram, and not thinking about the the long-term wildlife management conservation aspect of being an outdoorsman. And there, if you're going to call yourself an outdoorsman, you cannot be a selfish prick. That's just all there is to it.
You need to be a conservationist if you want to continue, whether you're a DIY hunter, whether you're an outfitter, whether you're whatever you are. You better pay attention to the resource, or you're not going to have one.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's what we're at on this deal. So.
Yep. Well, Rod, we've solved a lot of the world's problems on this one.
I hope we did, Jim. I don't think we solved them, but we damn sure threw them out.
A good point. So tell everybody where they could find you. Any elevator pitch for Sizzlin S Outfitters you want to do, or anything like that. You just now's the time.
Rod at sizzlinesoutfitters.com. I don't do any social media because I don't draws too much unneeded attention. Yeah, I've got a website, and that's what we do. We're all obviously on Eastman's a lot, have been for 21 years. So it's been a hell of a, it's been cool. Those guys are phenomenal. Very good friends of mine. And yeah, it's been a really good deal. So
good deal.
I have all the respect in the world for my guy, Ike, all them guys. Just very, very conservation minded, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Eastman's actually does not get enough credit for a lot of the conservational efforts that they do and produce, and the money that they are able to raise in different ways that they go about it. But they need the credit. They need some credit for some of that, because they really do a great job with that. And the future of hunting is brighter because of Eastman's, and people don't necessarily recognize it.
So, when was it? A year ago, I did a podcast with Ike. I went down to Powell, and he asked me, he said, "Why do you hunt?" And I said, "It's a really simple answer." I said, "My grandpa and yours." And he looked at me kind of funny. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, back in the 80s, when I was a kid, and I'd go to the video store on a Friday night or whatever, and most people were renting Porky's or whatever the case was, the old movies."
Mm-hmm.
Current at our time, but I was renting Gordon Eastman films, and I would go home and I'd watch them like multiple times. The next week,
too.
I'd go buy the new ones or the same ones. And it just, my grandpa was a big hunter. He went all over the NWT, Alaska, you name it. He hunted everywhere. And I think he died when I was like 10 or 11, but I still got to be around him. And that instilled it in me. And then Gordon finished it off. And then Mike took it over, and the boys took it over. And I think they're, in my opinion, and I'll die on this hill, they're the Eastmans have helped Western big game hunting more than anybody has. And they haven't heard it. They've helped it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, they have absolutely helped it. And it's they've been a big part of it. And so I'm like, man, I got a big fine in my town I grew up with. We had one little video rental store, and I rented an Eastman's video, and my VCR, back in the old days, the VCRs would like eat the tape on occasion, they just like all of a sudden start eating the tape, and I saw it spitting out of the VCR, and I'm like, oh crap. And so I go up and I take it back to them. It wasn't a big fine, but I had to pay like $20 to replace that video. And
that was
back
big.
then, that was
big.
a lot. That was a lot more money than $20 is today, And so I had to like mow a bunch of lawns. I was only, 11 or 12, something like that, and had to mow a bunch of lawns to pay for it. But I finally paid for it, and they got a new one, and I rented that one, and it was fine. That VCR only did that one time, and it was on that video.
It was funny when Ike asked me about that. I didn't have a VCR growing up, so you could go to a video store and rent one for like $5 for the weekend, right? But it looked like you're packing to go to the Bahamas. This thing was huge. And you packing it out in the old padded case.
I remember those.
Yeah, it had your videos in the other hand. And my mom, I'd never forget it. She's looking at me like, what the hell? And go home, screw it into the back of your TV, and that's how my weekend existed, It's watching those films.
Yeah.
And I always said that, hey, that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm doing. So
yep,
great. But
I love it.
It's because of them.
Yeah,
and they know that. So
Some of you youngsters out there don't know the joy. Hey, imagine this. Back in the day, you had to physically go get a cassette tape called a video cassette or
VCR.
And the VCR was a machine plugged into your TV. You'd put the cassette into that would play the movie. It wasn't like you just click on buttons on the internet and all of a sudden watch whatever you want. It's crazy concept.
But that VCR
right?
tape was about as big as my iPad. I mean, the thing was huge.
Yeah, it was a big old tape. Yeah.
Take 2 fingers, push it in, and hope to God the tracking worked and you could clear it up. And but man, I remember 2, 3 in the morning just sitting there. My mom would come out like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm watching this tape again." And it was Gordon shooting sheep or Gordon hunting mule deer or Gordon, whatever it was. And that's, I think that had a huge effect on me. So,
yeah, me too, man. I love it. I love it.
But the conservationists, those guys, I bounce a lot of stuff off Guy, Mike, and to get their response, and they've seen it all, and they're very proactive on it. So hats off to those guys. So
yeah, for sure. So there you go, Eastmans. There's a big shout out for you here on the Western Huntsman podcast. So, all right, my friend. Well, I sure appreciate you joining me on this episode. Really insightful. I really like getting you on, Rod. I think this is twice we've had you on the show now, and we're kind of just scratching the surface. There's a lot more we can get into, and we're going to have to at some point. So I really wish you a great fall season here coming up. It's right here, I only have one more thing to do, and I got to order some new gaiters because I wrecked it or lost one of my gaiters and I can't find it. So I've got to get a new set, and I'm ready for this season, brother. So
I'm trying to get some ranch stuff tied up, some fence building and different things like that. Got to get bulls pulled, and I need to get up and get cameras put up and get my houses ready. Yeah, it's a busy time of year, but it beats a real job. I love it. So
I just
enjoy the people. I enjoy being able to do what I love. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool. I'm very fortunate. I get to ranch for 9 months out of the year and hunt for 3. So
I know that's what a life, man. I love it. So well, again, thanks a bunch for coming on. I hope this proposal gets where we all kind of want it to go. I think it really will be beneficial to the future of these mule deer populations. So guys, check out Sizzlin S Outfitters.com. If you're interested in going and seeing Rod, you're going to have to book well in advance because he's very well known. He's got a great operation out there with some world-class guides. You're going to need to book ahead. Don't expect to call him up and get out there this season or next because he's probably already booked up for that. So that will be in the show notes. And once again, I'd like to thank Mystery Ranch, Loophole Optics, Securite, Barnes Bullets, Phelps Game Calls, Silencer Central, and Browning, the X-Bolt series. And I really appreciate you guys listening, for tuning in every week. Means a lot to me. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks again, Rod. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jim.
You made it. That's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you're following us on Instagram at The Western Huntsman and write us a good review at Apple Podcasts. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Stay Western, and I'll see you on the mountain.